All right. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Good morning. Good morning. Wonderful Tuesday today. Let me mute my YouTube. I'm just getting YouTube set up. Sorry, guys, if I'm distracted, but I can't wait to get this morning started. What a crazy bullish morning. Crypto had a massive run up over the weekend. Futures were up. Futures were traded yesterday. So while the rest of the markets were closed, futures were on. But yeah, I mean, crazy bullish day out there yesterday as well as today. So I am really looking forward to seeing what happens today, how we end up today. I do think some pullback is due if we look at futures, but just based on the news out there, the debt ceiling got approved, everything else is looking great. Nvidia is about to hit 1 trillion in market cap at open. So there's a lot of positives out there, and I'm not sure what sort of a pullback we're going to get. But as far as me looking and scanning through all these other stocks, everything seems to be like a retest gap. So maybe we get some pullback at open and then rise up above. But I mean, there's not much stopping things at this point. I don't know what could be stopping the Qs or SPY for it to not continue to go higher. Let's go look at the Qs real quick. Clearly my puts aren't very happy and I'm going to have to exit them today, which kind of feels wrong because, you're exiting on the fourth day, fourth green candle. So just depending on how today takes off, I might have to exit my Qs puts. And I do have quite a bit of them. I bought some on the weekly chart at the, where'd it go? Hold on, let me turn off the EMAs. What happened to the SMAs? Give me 1 second, guys. Here, so I bought some right here at 328, and then I kept adding along all throughout last week. And now I feel like maybe we're not getting that pullback, but although I do think that pullback is coming, I just don't know how much of a rise we're going to get before that pullback comes. So sometimes just being wrong is okay, and getting out of positions is okay. It all just depends on how much today retests. If it retests a lot more, then maybe I'll just hold on to my puts and get out for a little less of a loss. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys have puts on Qs and SPY, but just be mindful. I mean, this thing could continue forever. Not forever, but I'm sure there is some pullback, but maybe it could go fill this gap and then come back. I don't know. And I don't want to sit tight through that. So that's just what I'm thinking. Just my point. Good morning, Yaris. Good morning, Rock. Good morning, RLT family. Good morning, Alex. All of you out there, SPY's opening at 422, which is a big number. 420 has been a pretty big deal in SPY. Not just now, but even back then. This number just, I don't know, kind of held everything down together. So right now, us opening up above and gapping up above, all of this resistance and all of this line also means a whole lot. So as much as I want to push my bear wagon, it's just not worth it at this point. It is a lot of buying coming in. Strength is definitely stepping in. Then one thing we know is to not step in front of a very strong trend, right? So let's be cautious. And let's see where we end up with today. SPY, there's, it's already filled this gap. SPY is obviously strong. And I don't know where is the next stop on SPY. Probably up here now at 430 level. But again, that's not very, I'm not really like, oh yes, everything's bearish, everything's super bearish, as we were maybe 2 weeks ago. So strength definitely has come in. So we'll see what today ends up looking like. If today ends up looking like a very strong retest candle, then maybe not. Then maybe we get a pullback. But otherwise, there is a lot more to SPY to go higher than to go lower right now. So yeah. All right, let's go look at some of the other tickers that you guys want to look at. Let me know what else we're looking at, what else you guys want to look at. I will be gladly taking a look at those. Good morning, Ron. Good morning, Albert. Good morning, Lou. All right, Goog. And this is just on top of my list for no apparent reason. It just happens to be there. Google is everything today pretty much is a retest gap, but this gap on Google, I kind of like it. It's like the Apple gap. So it's not, it's stopping out 3 days of bears. It's taking out some serious resistance levels. If it can open like this at open, I think I'm definitely looking to go long Google. Or if it can come down and retest just to this level and then bounce, then I'm definitely looking to go long Google. But things are definitely going in the right track right now, for the bulls at least. So maybe we get that push up higher today. Tesla, everything's just looking super, super, super bullish. So I'm not really, gonna step along. Like I'm not gonna be a super big bear if things are gonna go long today. So okay. Tesla, the fact that it's coming up higher and breaking out of this trend line makes me feel like Tesla can also continue to go a lot higher. So I want to see what things do at open. The best case scenario for the bears obviously is to not let things go higher and pull it back, but I don't think that's coming in. I don't think any of the bears are stepping in. So I guess we're just going to have to look for bull trades today. With that being said, I'm not super bullish either on the Qs and the SPY, especially. Well, it's Qs especially because it's on the futures. If you look at it, it's been a lot of buying in a row. So we do need that pullback. Things are getting kind of out of control right now. So we'll see which way it wants to go, and we'll see. We just have to. Today is a day where I can't really have a plan on how things open. Everything's just gonna have to open. We're going to have to kind of assess it at open and then see where we end up going. So yeah, I see some comments. Give me 1 second. Shop and spot have nice gaps. Let's go look at shop and spot. Yep, shop does have a nice gap. Yes, I like this. Although I feel like, it could come up to this guy right here, so just to like 61.59 area and then go higher. I mean, this is a bull flag that it's looking to break out of. So I'd be watching the 62 area very, very closely. If we could break out of that, that's very strong on shop. So yeah, it does have a really nice gap. I like it. We could look for a long. I think long is the way to go today. So guys, don't get emotional. Don't try to short things where you don't have to. Today is the day to just kind of assess and see where things go, right? Let's go look at Spotify. Spotify also a lot like Google, right? I mean, 3 days of bears getting stopped out. In this case, it's a lot more days of bears getting stopped out. It is a retest gap, so I would think it comes back to this level and then bounces. Let's look at it on the weekly chart real quick. Yeah, the weekly looks great. It's got this beautiful inverse head and shoulders, just like NVIDIA did a couple of months ago. We're above all the moving averages on the weekly. Looks great. Okay. A lot of these things do look like Apple on the weekly chart. So if you look at Apple, I mean, this is, Apple's got that inverse head and shoulders. I don't know if we would consider this as the pullback level and then this as the bounce, right? So I don't know if that's what's happening on Apple, but I could very well see something like this come into play and then we go higher. So I'm really hoping that Apple retests these levels and then goes higher. And then, yeah, continues to go higher. But yes, there is a beautiful inverse head and shoulders. There's inverse head and shoulders everywhere, guys. On a weekly chart, that's very strong. So yeah, Apple also has this nice trend line that it had put in, and we've been breaking out of it for several weeks now. This is a weekly chart, but if I was to just look at this weekly chart, I would feel like things are getting a little bit extended. However, the technicals are telling me that this thing easily could go a lot higher. So yeah, as far as today's concerned, I think we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens at open. Apple also is just like Google and Spotify, closing, gapping up above all that resistance, and we will see which way it wants to go. Yeah, let's see if it can pull back to 175.50, and then we can look for a long in Apple. I think a long in Apple is a sure shot win. I don't know why anybody would not want to go long in Apple. So yeah, we'll play it that way. Rock says Maloney is a bear turned bull. I am not, Rock. No, I still want to look for bear trades, but I feel like if there are no bear trades available, like yesterday, all throughout yesterday in futures, I tried to spot a bear trend and it just wasn't forming out. So if there are no bear trades happening, I'm not going to sit today out and not take a trade. If I do see a good bullish setup, I'll take it. If not, then I'll just be patient with it, right? So we'll have to play it by the year and see which way things want to end up going. I do feel like certain things are a little bit extended, but just because they're extended doesn't mean they can't go higher. Nvidia being the prime example. So let's go look at Nvidia real quick, since it is the talk of the town right now. I don't know if you guys remember when Apple closed out above 2 trillion, or was it 2 trillion, I think. And that day it just continued to go higher. Nvidia is, going to be a $1 trillion market cap company. And I feel like that's also just going to continue to go higher today. So this is a beautiful gap above this high wave, retest gap. So I do expect some pullback at open. It does have a lot of people profitable, if you think about it. In the morning room when afternoon room when Jeremy said, well, we're gonna dip a little bit below, trap some bears, and then continue to go higher. I found that hard to believe, but now with today's price action, I genuinely do think we can continue to go higher. So yeah. Sorry guys, I sound like a man right now with my husky voice. I just have a really bad cold and congestion. So, but yeah, I do think it is going to continue to go higher. I do think buy the dip is the way to go in Nvidia also, but let's wait for that pullback and then see if we can go bullish, right? So let's see how much of a pullback we get, and then let's see if we can go bullish. I mean, it is quite a bit of a pullback. It's going to have to come back all the way to 391 from 405. So that might be it for today, but we'll see. All right, let's go look at Square. Square has been unusually weak. So I feel like this guy might have a little bit more potential to go higher. It's been weak, and there's been a lot of bears showing up in this scenario. So maybe a gap and go can help this, but it's not shaping out to be a gap and go. No, it's not. No. Earlier when I was looking at it, it was a little bit better, but right now it's not even shaping out to be a gap and go. Okay, never mind. Maybe not Square then. I'm trying to find a candle that closed bearish yesterday. Well, on Friday, and then see if we get a gap and go, but nothing closed bearish on Friday. Everything was super, super bullish. So yeah, I don't know why I have SRPT over here. Okay, shop we looked at already. Let's look at AMD. AMD, just like Nvidia, has a beautiful gap up. But don't you guys feel like this? I mean, after this many days out there, it's due for a pullback, right? I don't know what sort of a pullback we're going to get, and which is why I just want to assess. I feel like going long on AMD at this point at open may not be the right thing. Majority of the days, what's been happening on AMD is that it takes off, hovers for a little bit, and then just stays for the rest of the day. Maybe a faux dip happens, traps all the bears, and then goes higher again. So I don't know what we're going to do on AMD today. I mean, obviously it's a retest gap, so I might look to buy the dip here at 126-ish level, 126.80 level, and then we'll see which way it goes. But yeah, today might be the day to risk an R on a bull trade after all of those retest gaps have been filled, right? Netflix is a beautiful gap up, you guys. This area on Netflix has been rock solid. I mean, we got rejected this time around, right? Like pretty badly off of these levels. And everybody and their mom was watching this level on Netflix to go short, actually. So this gap up above that level actually is a very, very good thing for Netflix. It's climbing certain heights, which the trend is obviously very strong. So let's see if it can pull back and maybe we can find a long on Netflix. 400 is a whole number, so it might have some trouble. So there are two ways today can be played. We could just short right off the bat at open and see if the gap fills, or we could be patient, see if we go a little bit higher and then roll over, the gap fills, and then we can go a little bit higher again. So that's what my plan is on Netflix. CRM and Buds are also nice gap. Buenos dias, Hector. How's it going? CRM. Let's go look at Salesforce. Ooh, yes. Very much like Netflix. Wouldn't you guys agree? I mean, gapping up above that resistance, that's pretty solid on CRM. That's awesome. Okay, let's look at CRM real quick. I'm sure some of these RSIs are going to be like super high, super extended, yeah. You know, and I don't know. I honestly don't know if we're going to get that pullback right off the bat. But you know, as far as the charts are talking to me, they're all ultra bullish. Look at this inverse head and shoulders on the 4 hours with the RSI high, but that doesn't mean it can't go higher. So yeah, CRM, definitely a great gap up. The only way I would play this long though is that if that gap fills, you know, at least partially if it fills. So that's the only way I would play this long. Otherwise, I wouldn't get in the way to wreck my R just yet. Okay, we looked at NVIDIA. Let's look at Bud Light. I think somebody said Bud is a very nice gap up. So I'm not, well, ooh, that's a very nice gap down. Do they have more news? What happened to Bud Light? What happened to this ticker? Huh. It's not looking very good, guys. I'll tell you that. For all the bears are going to jump into this. I did not expect Bud to go lower than this. So this gap over here, I expected it to bounce over here at this support level or maybe this gap fill level and then continue to go higher. So yeah, this is a pretty solid gap down. And Bud's been very gappy lately if you look at it. I don't know. I'm not sure if this drop is because of some news, but yeah, this is a pretty solid gap down. If you want to go short at open, I would wait for a green candle to come in. This is 3 days of buyers trapped. So, I mean, I'm not rejecting that. I'm not saying, oh, it can't go lower. It can certainly go lower. This is a pretty nice gap down. Let's see what it looks like on the hourlies. Yeah, hourlies are a little bit extended though. Don't know, today is such a strong day. I feel like shorting something just feels wrong. So yeah, but no, if we get some buyers come in at open, I'll add Bud Light to my list and keep an eye on it because it is a pretty beautiful gap and go. I'll move it up. I also like this gap on Tesla. So we might have to keep an eye on Tesla also. Let's see what happens. Oh, Bud is also gappy, always gappy because European markets. Craig says they had some advertising issues, definitely news in my opinion. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Okay, somebody's talking about Adobe. Let's look at Adobe real quick, guys. And ooh, whoa. Adobe being a $430 ticker is hard to believe when it was at 280 just recently. And I look at Adobe quite a bit for my swing trading. So I've been wanting to buy a dip forever and just haven't really gotten the chance. I mean, I thought I should be buying some over here. I thought I should be buying some over here off of this hammer and just never got around to it. Actually, honestly, on this day, I did have a bid out and I didn't realize it wasn't a good till cancel kind of bid. And so it didn't, I mean, the day ended and my bid got expired. So yeah, that was an honest mistake, genuine mistake. But yes, I've been wanting to buy Adobe forever. So I look at it quite a bit. This is a pretty insane gap up on Adobe. You know, guys, if today, for whatever reason, does turn into a pullback kind of day, I mean, it's going to wreck some of these tickers. And you guys have to just understand that we are extended. We're very, very extended on certain tickers, especially like when I look at something like this. If we look at it on a weekly chart too, I bet it looks, well, weekly looks okay. Doesn't really look as bad as Apple, but yeah, maybe this could be the next level of target on Adobe, and then pullback happens. Don't know, but this is a pretty decent gap. I mean, I would say buy the dip if it pulls back to 415. That's a $15 move though, and I don't know how much of a pullback we're going to get. So yeah, that's a pretty decent gap up too. I'm just, and you know, it's like mind-boggling to see these gaps up, but we knew this was going to happen and we were prepped for it. Also, RT3 and Slack said, you know, the debt ceiling is going to get raised and we're going to continue to go higher. So just be prepared, guys. So yeah. And I believed him then, I believe him now. I absolutely agree. So yeah. Amazon is also looking interesting above this gap up. Let's see what Amazon's doing. So Amazon's and Google have been one of the weaker tickers, right? Lately, they haven't been going up as much. They haven't been doing much. But this is a pretty decent gap on Amazon. You know, we're clearing all of this resistance. I feel like we could pull back a tiny bit. Amazon doesn't really have much to pull back to, right? It's just got like $1, $2 maybe to pull back to, and then continue to go higher. Now, if things were to pull back, let's say if things didn't go as planned, then how would you measure it? So I'm going to put fibs on it, and I'll show you guys how I would measure what a good pullback looks like. And because I want to see how low things can go, my fibs are pointed to the other way for the retracement. And I am going to just simply put fibs on. You could do this on any ticker you want. What is an accepted amount of pullback, right? Anything, you know, anything below the 382, I would say there's more weakness in there and it's looking to do a lot more. So if we start taking, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. If we start taking out the 382 level, I would say there's a lot more weakness and we're going to come back down to the 618. Now, this is an area that we absolutely have to hold. I would find it really hard to believe that we take out some of Friday's candles today. I don't think that's very likely to happen. So you know, if we don't start bouncing off of 236, prep for this level. We don't start bouncing off of here, then just know that we're a little tinge bit weaker than we expected to open at today. So that's how I'm assessing how much of what is a due pullback level. So what do you think of target bearish? So Craig, just like how Apple has, you know, Jeremy has Apple, Target is my bay, and I don't know if I should short Target. But actually I like Target bullish, especially after this hammer. I don't know why it's not taking off. I do know the news around it, and I genuinely don't have any opinions about the news around it. But as far as what it's doing to the ticker, it is a good dividend paying stock. It's, you know, it's pretty genuine. The stores make money. I like everything about the company. I know they've got some weaker forecasts and whatnot, but I mean, the way I look at it is it's just another buy the dip kind of instance. It held the level exactly to where it needed to hold, right? So if it starts taking out these levels, then maybe, I don't know, but yeah, if it starts closing below here, then 137, then I would think maybe there's more room to go down on Target. But yeah, as far as, you know, as far as I'm looking at it, I feel like we're quite a bit extended even to the bear side to go short on the weekly chart, on the daily chart too. It's just been so many bear days in a row. If anything, today turns out to be a bullish day, I would want to buy the dip on Target. And I honestly don't know why this thing's not gapping up. If Target was a gap and go today, I would be all over it. I'd be like, yup, let's go long today. Again, don't know if there's news out there on it. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. Hector says, what's the news on Target, Hector? Let's go look at pins. Somebody threw out pins out there in the chart. If you're asking about Target, then the news was they came out with certain products, whatever, that some people thought were great, some people thought were very offensive, unnecessary, blah, 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 blah. And there's a huge controversy on it. I have zero opinions on it. Truly, doesn't matter. As far as the stock is concerned, it doesn't matter. And that's where I'll leave it. So yeah, it's one of those Bud Light controversies, same exact thing in Target. So yeah. Pins is a cute retest gap, somebody said. Yes, I do like pins, absolutely like pins. If we're taking out this bear candle, the highest bear volume for quite a long time, right? And we're looking to go higher. These are let me turn these off. These are my EMAs, and I don't really look at longer term EMAs. I only look at the 10 and the 20. I think that's what suffices for me. So I don't really look at the longer term EMAs, but here, I think pins could potentially come back up and fill this gap. I'm not saying pins is going to go up to, 40 or 50 today, but for a bullish continuation, I do think this can take off. So yes, I do like this retest gap. To me, this feels like a wave 3 still. We might just go sideways for a little bit and then just go up and fill this gap. So we'll see which way pins wants to go. Microsoft we haven't looked at that, but yes, I like this gap up. There's a lot of accumulation down here at this range. And this is turning into one of those tickers that's like, well, we've fallen so much. How low can you really go? So I'm sorry, guys. Okay, all right, cool. Let's look at Microsoft real quick. So Microsoft, along with NVIDIA, obviously is one of those, and tickers that are really, really, really unstoppable. I mean, just be careful, guys, because as I'm looking at tickers, I'm also looking at the daily RSIs, and my bear brain just kind of feels like these are warning signs. These are just too quick of a climb for it to come back down. Although if I'm looking for weakness out there in the markets, I would not be going to NVIDIA and Microsoft. So, every event is just going to be a buy the dip kind of event on these tickers. So just be cautious with this and buy the dip, I guess, on this. I do think that a pullback is due. This is a lot of days of being bullish in this. So the one way I look at it is, think about this. If you guys are long Microsoft, let's say from here, let's say you are the wisest person that bought this dip, right? And you're long in Microsoft. At best, you're going to trim off maybe 10% of your shares, because why not? I mean, Microsoft's got room to go higher. It's got, all this news behind it. It's just got the wind in its sails, and it's just looking great, right? So why would you trim off more than that? So you may take a partial, but you're not going to exit all your short shares, right? You're not going to go stopping out of it. So what I'm trying to get to is, we may see a little tiny dip, but unless there is like a panic kind of news, I don't think anything just collapses. So I don't think Microsoft's just going to go down and do this number, especially not today. I'm not expecting that. And if it does turn out to be a day like this, then I would be truly shocked. So if we start getting closes below this candle, I'd be truly shocked, but I don't think today is going to be that day. So we'll see. Have I talked about Netflix? Jenna says, let's look at Netflix. Yes, we did look at Netflix, Jenna, and I love this gap up on Netflix. With that being said, I do think it's going to pull back to this level at least. And that's the only way I can go long, but it is a retest gap and it is going to pull back to this level. And then we continue to go higher. All right, with that, my friends, it's time to say goodbye to YouTube land. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful bullish day out there today. Buy the dip, remember what we talked about, and hopefully you enjoyed this. Give us a thumbs up, like,